I was introduced to WRAP in 2006, and at that point, very much the recovery and recovery in general was on the agenda in Scotland in relation to there was an acknowledgement that recovery can and does happen, and that individually but collectively we needed to look at how we supported recovery and how we supported not only people to recover, individuals to recover, but also systems to recover, and as a result our communities to recover. And I became involved in the Scottish Recovery Network, and through that experience I was able to discover that by sharing my story that actually I had a story to tell, and that to be able to become a peer support worker and be one of the first formalised peer support workers in Scotland, I needed to be able to take back control of my life, because although I'd been involved in services at that point for, you're talking about over 20 years, I still had no inner resources. I had no awareness in relation to how I could control my life. I was totally dependent on other people to manage me. And as you can imagine, that was quite a challenging job for them. But for me to be able to use my experience not only to help myself, but to help other people, I had to find something that I had control over to manage my own wellness. And that's when I heard about WRAP, and that was in 2006. So I'd already started those tentative steps in recovery and moving forward towards a level of wellness I hadn't really experienced previously. And WRAP was the tool that enabled me to suddenly reconnect with my own expertise, that I did actually have resources within myself to manage things in a way that allowed me direction, that I was able to move forward by taking back control, by daring to dream and to reach for the stars. And I know that that probably sounds quite cliched, but previously my life had been very much about being maintained within a system. And I was really fortunate because I learned about WRAP from the Copeland Center. The Copeland Center, the director of the Copeland Center at that time, had come to Scotland to do an awareness session. And I knew that day, and you were only talking about a 2-hour session, but I knew in that moment that WRAP was going to be significant. And that was in the April, and then I went through the formalised peer support training at the end of the year. And in February the following year, I found myself in America. This is someone that, up to that point, I had quite a limited life being maintained within services. And what I heard in that awareness session from the director of the Copeland Center was a possibility my life could be more. I had learned about WRAP in the way that the values and ethics of I was the expert myself, that there was hope, that I could recover, that my experiences were validated, my strengths were validated. They were interested in concentrating on what was strong within me and not what was wrong. And I think because I had such a positive experience of WRAP through the Copeland Center, that became a platform that I could grow. And my involvement with the Copeland Center has been a springboard to where I am now. And it's allowed me to work with other people in a way that I hope that I give them the best possible experience, an invitation to the potential that WRAP has given me in my life.
I was introduced to WRAP through Rona, and my experience was very different. I was introduced through my work back home. I work for a big care organisation, and like Rona says about the recovery movement in Scotland, it was very high on our organisation's agenda that we embrace the recovery concepts as well. So I was asked to go along and become involved with the training. But I didn't connect with it on a very personal level at the beginning, and it was very much about my work. And I think it ties in with what Mary Ellen was talking about this morning about WRAP is for life. I very quickly became aware that WRAP was something that wasn't just about the people that I work with or for. It was about me as an individual and about people in general. And I think the Copeland Centre has given me the opportunity to help spread that around and be able to facilitate in different countries, but also back home, and to make sure that the values and ethics and how the model of WRAP should be delivered is very, very close to my heart, I think, because I was introduced earlier before I met Rona. I'd been involved in hearing about WRAP, but it wasn't in the same way that we deliver it today. It was a kind of watered down version, if you like, and I think that goes on quite often, that people hear about something and they take it on board and they think this is something really good, but they try to change things to make it fit more in with how they want it to be delivered. But I'm very passionate about it being delivered the way that the model works and the way that the Copeland Centre endorses WRAP as a model because of my experience. Because when I was introduced to it in the watered down version, it had no impact on me at all. Whereas when I was introduced to Rona and it was facilitated in a way that was empowering and the values and ethics really shone through, that was when my experience as an individual was validated, and that's when I realised that WRAP was not only about me as an individual and the organisation that I work for, it was about a whole thing, that it becomes a way of life. And that's, I think, why I feel so passionate about it.
We often say that, we need to mac WRAP, mac WRAP as in make it Scottish, etc., etc. And I feel quite strongly that WRAP was created in America, but it's actually culturally sensitive to everyone. And WRAP as a structure, that's what we facilitate with. So for me, the structure doesn't change, because if you change the structure, then it's no longer WRAP. So we have to stay to the structure. But our task, our responsibility as facilitators is very much to facilitate that process. And the way that we facilitate that process makes the connection and creates an environment so people create their own magic. As facilitators, all we have is the knowledge. We don't know what works for every individual in that group. We're creating a mutual learning whereby they create their own magic.
Mm-hmm. So I couldn't agree more. I think WRAP speaks to individuals, not to, I think it's very culturally sensitive, in that it's getting delivered in Japan and Hong Kong and Australia, and even from where Rona lives to where I live, people are very different. Rona lives in a big city, whereas I live in a suburban town. So my experiences are shaped differently from what Rona's are, but I think WRAP speaks to all people, no matter where or sort of where you come from.